So, hello again. We're reading then Plato's Republic, and we are reading the first two books this week. There's a different separation in the book that we have, the translation we have, but the first two chapters in the Oxford edition, and then the third one, although it's in the syllabus, please do not refer to it. But let me say a few things about how this Republic is structured at the beginning. So, we seem to have the same kind of dialogue that we used to have in the Socratic dialogues at the beginning of Plato's philosophy, that with which, forgive me, you are perhaps familiar. We have read the Euthyphro, the Crito in the past, those which you have taken introduction to philosophy, and even if you have not taken the class with me, you may have taken with different people and so on. But what we normally have in those dialogues at the beginning, we have an interlocutor, in this case several ones, that claim certain things about the topic of discussion, and Socrates, to various questions, rejects their definitions by showing them especially that whatever they believe about something is inconsistent with other beliefs they have. So he's trying to reset their minds, so to say, so that their ideas make sense together. And at the beginning, we have Thrasymachus, who's fairly adamant about trying to show that immorality is better than morality. That immorality is desired only because the weaks need it in order to have benefits. But if they were in fact powerful, they would act uh, immorally as well. But then, and that's the part I wish to concentrate on, we have the Ring of Gyges story. And in the second chapter of Plato's Republic, we have Glaucon and what's his name? And Adimantus, who work with Socrates and try to show to him various ways or various reasons why someone would argue that immorality is better than morality. And the whole thing starts from a separation of what the goods are. And there are three kinds of goods, as described in the beginning of the second chapter of the Republic. Some goods are desired for their own sake. Some goods are desired for the consequences that we have from them. And some other goods are desired both for their own sakes, because they are good in themselves, and also for what they bring to us. I can give you one example, although maybe Socrates may disagree with me. But for me, soccer is such a good. I desire it for its own sake because I love soccer itself, but I desire it also for what it gives me, and that is some health. I hope so, at least. Morality is placed by Socrates in the second category. So we desire it for it gives us good consequences, it benefits us, but we desire it also because it is an intrinsic good. And Glaucon and Adimantus try to prove that that's not the case. Before I go over, forgive me, the Ring of Gyges story, let me mention one thing, and that is, if we look around the world, we may often be inclined to believe that the people who are immoral have more benefits than the people who are moral. Because often the criminals, often the people who steal, get more benefit in society than the people who don't steal. Well, you may think that things are not correct, and then I describe the world incorrectly and so on. But that happens, I would say, and because it happens, it creates a problem. So why should I, if I have the power to produce immorality and to have benefits out of it, why should I choose morality? What is there for me to be able to choose morality? So, there are three reasons to be unjust, and I will talk about each one of them in this book. The first one is the nature of justice. And the argument goes that doing justice is by nature good, and to suffer injustice is by nature evil. Why is that the case? Because doing injustice is by nature good because it gives me benefits, Suffering injustice is by nature evil because I am at the end of injustice, and by being at the end, I suffer from whatever the one who's more powerful than me brings upon me. So, evil is greater than the good. That is, when I suffer injustice, it is worse for me, I have worse consequences than the good consequences when I inflict injustice upon other people. More than that, it is more likely for me to suffer injustice. And because of that, what I want is justice. Because I am more likely to be at the wrong end of the affair, I prefer to have a just society so that I am in a better situation. This is Plato's kind of counterterrorism, an idea that has been well developed by Thomas Hobbes, later an English philosopher. And the point is that human beings are by nature bad, or by nature, not by nature. The ideas of good and bad do not come prior to agreements between human beings. The ideas between good and bad come in the sense in which we can suffer or not suffer injustices. So what we do, we organize a society, we have a contract, a contract between all of us, because we realize that if we do not have rules, we are in the danger of being eliminated. The desire that we have to not be eliminated makes us create rules, because rules will protect us from the harm that other people who may be stronger than us can produce in us. So justice is a product. The rules that we have in society are the products of the fact that I want to avoid being harmed by the ones who are better than me. The second argument, and I'm going over the PowerPoint so I know exactly that you're following with me as well. The second argument goes this way. If both the just and the unjust are given the power to do what they will both act in the same way. So, suppose I am a just human being and I always do good things. Why? Well, probably, the argument goes, because I am inclined to do so, being afraid of the consequences I will have if I don't act justly. However, if people would not know that I'm doing something unjust, if I can become invisible, I would act exactly in the same way as someone who is considered to be unjust would act. And the story of Gyges is supposed to show this. The story goes this way. There's a shepherd who finds a ring into a tomb. It's not the ring of power from Lord of the Rings. Then he realizes at one time that if he turns it around, he turns the ring the other side, he becomes invisible. And with the help of this ring, or becoming invisible, he seduces the queen, and he plans with her to kill the king. They succeed to do so, and he becomes the ruler of the kingdom, right? While before all that, before finding the ring, this man was a just human being. He was a good human being, respected by all the others. He continues to be respected because nobody knows that he has done all those things. He became invisible. But the point is that he acted in an unjust manner only due to the fact that there were no consequences that he could suffer because nobody knew anything about them. And the argument goes, we would all do the same thing. The fact that we do not do such things is not because we don't desire them, but rather because we acknowledge that doing so would create us bad fame among our people, and we'll have worse benefits. The third argument, and you have it on the next PowerPoint, goes that the life of the unjust is better than the life of the unjust. And the two situations are this way. Consider the highest injustice and what would be the highest justice. And the highest injustice is the life of the human being who has the highest injustice, is the one who does all the bad things possible. He has all the good consequences out of them, but everybody considers him just. The highest just is the one who does always what is right, always being kind to all human beings, or whatever else you think justice is. Nevertheless, he is perceived by all the others to be unjust. Which life would you prefer? Which life would you choose if you were given this choice? But let me ask you even strongly, even I think it's stronger in a stronger way. What life would you choose for your own child if you could choose one of those two lives? Would you choose the perfect life of injustice, the one in which your child has all the possible benefits in the world, including being perceived well by others, but your child acts like a schmuck? Or would you choose the life in which everybody looks at your child as being the last human being, but he or she acts in the most just way? So what I need you to do in your comments for this video is to answer two questions. First of all, how would you argue against the story or against the theory that comes out of the story from the Gyges, the Ring of Gyges? And second, what do you think would be the answer to this problem of what kind of life we should choose? Thank you.